Waukesha police are investigating a mysterious death after someone found a body wrapped in a tarp. The scene unfolding last night behind an apartment building just west of Frame Park near North Street.
Mr. Maldonado's cause of death was homicidal violence with gunshot wounds to head and torso. His manner of death was homicide.
Again, I protest these proceedings. I am here under duress. This trial is a sham. I am being railroaded. I don't think you are morally fit to be a judge. As soon as I can sit down and write a letter, I am going to complain to your boss, Judge Bugenhagen.
Welcome back to our fourth video covering the trial of Kevin Lychwick, who is accused of murdering Carlos J. Maldonado. So what has our trial coverage revealed thus far? Carlos Maldonado went missing in April 2024. His body was discovered behind his apartment building 6 months later, covered by branches and wrapped in garbage bags and a tarp. The medical examiner was able to identify the victim based upon dental records and confirmed the death was a homicide due to gunshot wounds to the face and midsection. In November, the Waukesha Police Department began zeroing in on the man who resided in a unit immediately next to his. It was the defendant. Upon searching his apartment, they found a so-called hit list and ropes tied to a folding chair. These same ropes were similar to the rope found on the body. You are probably wondering why or how the defendant became suspect number one. Well, he wasn't the only suspect. The police also took measures to rule out the building's maintenance man as being linked to the crime. He was the one who discovered the body on October 30th, 2024. It seems in pre-trial hearings they may have made a ruling that his name could not be used in court. I'm having a difficult time finding it. But I did hear the defendant and the apartment manager say the name Nathan Polly or something similar to that.
I'd like to make two records regarding discovery in this case. Going forward, since Mr. Lychwick does not have any of his papers with him, as we introduce paper exhibits or documents, I have asked my paralegal to start printing off paper copies to provide to Mr. Lychwick as we go along. He did have a flash drive given to him yesterday after we broke for the day. It contained all of the state's exhibits up to this point and some that have been marked and just not admitted yet. Exhibits 82 and 83 on that flash drive were photos. I replaced them with different photos, so I will get Mr. Lychwick a copy of those as well. But that way, because he doesn't have anything with him, at least he can follow along with all of the paper discovery in court as the witnesses go up. All of those exhibits and documents have previously been provided to him through Attorney Galavi's via an evidence.com link.
Okay, thank you.
The last thing is, after court yesterday, while Attorney Galavi's was present, the attorneys were still in court, along with Mr. Lychwick. As I was handing him that flash drive, he told me he was still missing the recorded calls. I think one of the last names that he gave was Smithy.
These recorded jail calls are going to come back up when the lead detective, Ben Stern, takes the stand at the end of trial. Yes, Ben Stern, as in the Darrell Brooks trial. Don't worry, we'll get to that shortly.
Smithey, which made me think that he was referencing several recorded phone calls for individuals that officers spoke to in this case. They're not on the state's witness list. I don't intend to call them, but I did, in an effort to make sure that he had what he was asking for, I went back to review the property sheet. There are 3 specific recorded calls, one with Kurt Lychwick, one with Raven Frederick, Fredrick, and Jackie Smithy, Jacki Smithey. I confirmed that all 3 of those calls are on the evidence.com link that was previously provided to counsel, which Attorney Galavi's advised us he had given the entirety of everything he had received from the district attorney's office to Mr. Lychwick. So just so there's a record made of that, he does have everything, and he has those calls that I believe he was referencing to me yesterday when we broke for the day.
All right, thank you. Mr. Lychwick, anything on those matters?
Yes, the flash drive, Your Honor, that was given to me yesterday kindly by the prosecution was taken away from me by the jail staff. So they've denied me access to it, ultimately. I do not have access to that flash drive.
And Attorney Thompson, everything that was on the flash drive was previously provided to the defense via the evidence.com link?
Yes, with the caveat of, for example, the Exhibit 2, which is the floor diagram of Ms. Rose, Mr. Maldonado, Mr. Lychwick's, that was created as a demonstrative. So there are a couple demonstrative exhibits on that flash drive, but otherwise everything else was on evidence.com, yes.
Okay, thank you. Anything else before we bring the jury in?
No, thank you.
Mr. Lychwick?
Yes, I just want to go lay down, Your Honor. I'm not well.
All right, I understand. Let's call for the jury then. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you can see that the defendant is dressed differently today by his choice. You are not to infer anything from that, nor use that in any way against him. All right, we are ready to proceed with the trial. The state may call its next witness.
John, we call Anthony LaFay, please.
This next witness could be the hero in Maldonado's justice. He just so happened to install trail cameras around the property with the permission of the building owner. And it really wasn't for crime prevention. He said his mother liked to watch the back garden area of the building.
And good morning, Mr. LaFay. Can you please tell the jury where you live, sir?
1512 East North Street, apartment 7, Waukesha, Wisconsin.
And how long have you lived in that location, sir?
Since 2013.
And do you know an individual named Kevin Lychwick, sir?
Yes.
Do you see Mr. Lychwick in the courtroom here today?
Yes.
I know I keep mispronouncing his name, but at least I'm not calling him Lychwick like the prosecution. I mean, come on now.
Can you please point him out and identify an article of clothing that he's wearing?
Orange clothing.
And he's the gentleman seated directly to my left, is
Correct.
that right, sir? You live in the same apartment building as Mr. Lychwick, sir?
Yes.
And did you ever interact with Mr. Lychwick, sir?
Just in passing, doing laundry, coming and going in the garage.
Okay. And based on your interactions with Mr. Lychwick, do you know whether he has a particular first name that he prefers to be called by?
Everybody in the building usually just referred to him as Conrad.
Okay. And do you know an individual named Carlos Maldonado?
Yes.
And how do you know Carlos, sir?
He also lived in the building on the second floor.
Okay. And so directing your attention to the springtime of 2024, did you install a trail camera at your apartment complex at about that time frame, sir?
Yes.
Can you just tell the jury a little bit generally about what this trail camera looked like?
It's a white 2x3-ish square box. Just stuck it on the tree.
And when you say you stuck it on a tree, can you just give the jury a little bit of a sense? There's a hill and a wooded area to the back of the apartment complex. Is this the area where you put the camera, sir?
Correct.
And does this particular trail camera run on what is known as an SD memory card?
Yes.
And an SD memory card, does that capture the footage that your trail camera is recording on a particular date and time?
Correct.
And if a person has a copy of that SD memory card, would they be able to go back in time and review footage from a prior time date?
Yes.
And does the trail camera that you installed, does that work on motion detection?
Yes.
Does it continue to record footage even if it's late at night, say after midnight?
Oh, yeah, 24/7.
And was there a point in time, sir, in which a law enforcement official came to you and asked you for the particular footage that was on your trail camera?
Yes.
And let me take a step back and ask you this as well. In terms of the footage on your trail camera, to your knowledge, when you initially installed the camera, did you ever change out the SD memory card?
No.
So the original SD memory card that you installed the camera would have been recording throughout the time of April of 2024?
Absolutely.
It would have also been recording around the same time of May of 2024?
Yep.
And I asked you just a few moments ago about an official from law enforcement asking you contact you in reference to your trail camera. Was that Detective Ben Stern of the Waukesha Police Department?
Yes.
And he's the gentleman that's seated a couple of seats to my right?
Yes.
And did you cooperatively turn over those 2 SD cards to him?
Right away.
And did Detective Stern threaten you or coerce you in any manner to hand over those SD cards?
Nope.
You did that voluntarily?
Absolutely.
And you made no modifications or any changes to the SD card until that time that you turned it over to the police department?
Correct.
Was there a point in time, sir, in late November of 2024 when you were contacted by a specialist with the Waukesha Police Department?
Yes.
And this particular individual wanted you to review some particular footage from your trail camera, is that right?
Yes.
And specifically, this individual wanted to show you some footage and see if you recognized anybody from your trail camera. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is the timestamp accurate?
Yes.
Okay. Now, sir, I'm going to play this particular clip from the beginning. I'm going to back it up here, and just let us know after you finish reviewing this clip if you recognize it.
I do.
Okay. This is your trail camera, sir?
Yes.
This is from the trail camera that you installed at the back of the complex?
Yes.
May I now move the exhibit into evidence and ask that it be received?
Any objection to the receipt of the evidence, Mr. Lychwick? I'll take silence as no objection. The evidence will be received.
Thank you. And, Your Honor, at this point, I would ask permission to publish to the jury.
Mr. Lychwick, any objection to publication to the jury?
If I could address the jury for a minute, Your Honor.
You may not. Any objection to Exhibit 66 being used with the jury?
I am not well. I told you that already. I am not up to sitting here and participating in these procedures. I am sick, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Lychwick, I've already made a ruling on that. The trial is continuing. Without objection or over the defendant's silence, the court will allow Exhibit 66 to be received into evidence and used with the jury.
Thank you. If we could just have the TVs turned down, please. Okay. Were you able to review the clip, sir?
Mm-hmm.
And
That's a yes?
Yes.
Yep. And is there an individual depicted walking on this clip, sir?
Yes.
Do you recognize that individual?
I do.
Who is that individual?
Kevin Lychwick.
Kevin Lychwick, sir?
Lychwick, yes.
The individual you identify?
Kevin Lychwick. Oh, I just corrected. I mispronounced.
The same Kevin Lychwick that you identified earlier in court here today, sir?
Yes.
How do you know that that's Mr. Lychwick, sir?
He kind of has a particular walk, a gait to how he walks.
Okay, and the timestamp is?
Is May 2nd, 2024 at 12:40, hours, 31 seconds.
That's 12:41, so that's 12:41 in the morning, sir?
Correct.
They are basically just introducing the trail camera here, and the lead detective will wrap up all the clips with commentary on the last day of trial. As the clips are introduced into evidence, the defendant is asked if he objects. He did not respond, and when he did respond, he would just complain.
Your Honor, I now move the exhibit into evidence and ask that it be received.
Any objection to the receipt of Exhibit 67, Mr. Lychwick? All right, no answer from the defendant. The evidence will be received.
Your Honor, I now move State's Exhibit number 68 into evidence and ask that it be received.
Any objection to Exhibit 68, Mr. Lychwick? Without objection, the exhibit will be received. Any objection to Exhibit 69, Mr. Lychwick? The record will reflect that Mr. Lychwick is sitting still in his chair with his eyes closed, and he is non-responsive to the court. The court is speaking in a loud enough voice to wake up anyone who would legitimately be sleeping. The defendant is choosing not to answer the court's inquiries. Exhibit 69 is received into evidence.
Your Honor, I now move State's Exhibit number 70 into evidence.
Any objection to Exhibit 70, Mr. Lychwick? The defendant continues to not answer nor open his eyes. Exhibit 70 is received.
Mr. Lefebvre, was there a time when you knew Mr. Lychwick that you took note of any particular change to his hair color?
About a year previous to him being vacated from the building.
Okay, do you remember when you first noticed that he had jet black hair?
few months previous to, like, in early 2024.
That's all the questions I have for you. Thank you.
Mr. Lychwick, do you have any cross-examination?
I told you, Your Honor, I'm sick. I'm not well. I shouldn't be here. I need to be laying down.
The court has already ruled on that today. I've ruled on that pre-trial, and the trial will continue. Without any cross-examination, then, Mr. Lefebvre, you are excused. Thank you.
And that was when Kevin Lychwick became suspect number 1.
The appearances are the same. During the break, I was advised that Mr. Lychwick was cold and was requesting a blanket or some covering. So I authorized our bailiffs to look for something, and he's been provided with what looks like a pretty heavy-duty coat that was placed on him, and he is now wearing that coat, which, by the way, covers up the orange jail outfit, at least from the waist up. Otherwise, Mr. Lychwick remains in the wheelchair. Anything else before we bring the jury in? Attorney Thompson?
No, thank you.
Mr. Lychwick? Okay, let's bring the jury in. We are still very much on track in this trial, and maybe our initial estimation of 4 to 5 days for it may be too long, and we may be in position to finish well ahead of that. I don't want to make any promises, but I don't want you to worry that we're falling behind or anything like that. We are still very much on track. So, Attorney Thompson, the state may call its next witness.
Before I place his name on the screen, does this face look familiar to anyone? What if I put up a picture of him from 2022? Remember now? It has been 4 years since we saw him. This is Detective Bryce Scholten, who shot at Darrell Brooks' vehicle as it was leaving the parade route. He was one of many favorite witnesses in that trial.
Detective, where are you employed?
I'm employed with the City of Waukesha Police Department.
Are you a specialist or are you just a detective, sir?
I'm a detective.
Okay. And how many years have you been with the Waukesha Police Department, sir?
11 years.
Directing your attention to November 26th of 2024, did you respond to an apartment located at 1512 East North Street?
Yes, I did.
And did you specifically respond to apartment number 11?
Yes, I did.
And that's in the city and county of Waukesha, state of Wisconsin?
Yes, it is.
Why did you respond to that particular apartment, sir?
I responded there with many other detectives to assist Detective Ben Stern, who was executing a search warrant at this residence.
And do you know who had rented this particular residence?
Yes, I do.
Who was that individual? Kevin
Lychwick. I was assigned to search the living room. I primarily searched the area nearest the windows, and there was a makeshift desk made out of cardboard boxes. There was a telephone there, and there was also filing cabinets in that area. So it was the area of the living room that probably was surrounded by the most paperwork and boxes.
And in addition to yourself, was there a Detective Bauer who assisted you with the search as well?
Yes.
Were you and Detective Bauer in close proximity to each other when this search took place?
Yes, standing right next to each other.
And was there a point in time when you were engaged in this search that you located many pieces of paperwork?
Yes.
And was it your opinion at that time that this paperwork that you had located had evidentiary value in this case?
That is correct. Because there was such a large quantity of paper, to put it in perspective, it was just boxes and boxes all lined like the side of the living room. And going through that, we quickly realized that we would be there all day if we went through all the paperwork right then and there. So anything that we looked like could be evidentiary value, we took to the side and we put it in 2 large cardboard boxes, and then we brought that back to the Waukesha Police Department. We went through it like much slower and read through everything then at the police department.
Do you know whether Detective Ben Stern was one of the officers who looked through it?
Yes, Detective Stern was there with me and several others.
Was Detective Stern on scene when the search of Mr. Lychwick's apartment took place?
I believe he was.
And in terms of some of the paperwork that you located, are you familiar with a particular operation known as Operation Starling?
Yes, I am.
And in reference to this particular Operation Starling, can you just tell the jury a little bit more? What exactly is the connection between Operation Starling and this particular case?
So as we were going through the paperwork, we came across several different operations. Detective Bauer had located a piece of paper in the apartment that was Operation Slop Shop. This is different than that. It was located in a different folder that I found back at the police department, but this operation referenced Operation Slop Shop, and in Operation, it stated that Operation Slop Shop needed to be executed first. And then on the bottom of the paperwork, I believe it also stated, it was written in different ink, where it then stated that the operation could commence because Operation Slop Shop had been executed and all threats from that operation were neutralized. And I knew that from Bauer's piece of paper, that's where Maldonado's name was written on that. So that's how I know they were linked.
Your Honor, this has been previously marked as State's Exhibit number 147. I would ask permission to approach the witness.
Sure, let's have Mr. Lychwick view the exhibit first. Mr. Lychwick, would you like to see Exhibit 147 before it is used with this witness? Mr. Lychwick has looked at the court and not acknowledged the court, so Attorney Tombasco, you can approach the witness.
Thank you very much. Detective, just to identify, that exhibit I just handed you is marked State's Exhibit number 147. Is that right?
That is correct.
And is that the piece of paper that, from the search of Mr. Lychwick's apartment, that you or Detective Bauer seized?
This is the one that I seized at the police department.
And does that particular exhibit detail an Operation Starling on it?
Yes, it does.
And towards the bottom of that particular exhibit, what you just testified to regarding Operation Slop Shop, is that written in different colored ink at that bottom of that exhibit, sir?
Yes, it is. It's written in a different color ink.
Your Honor, at this point, I would ask that the exhibit be received into evidence.
Any objection, Mr. Lychwick? The defendant is not acknowledging the court. The court will receive Exhibit 147.
Detective, directing your attention now to December 1st of 2024, did you receive a specific notification on that particular day in reference to Mr. Lychwick's vehicle?
Yes, I did.
And just to give the jury a little bit of context, at that point in time, had your department applied for and received a GPS warrant to track Mr. Lychwick's vehicle's movements?
Yes, we had.
And that was signed by a judge?
Yes.
And on December 1st of 2024, did you receive any sort of notification in reference to that GPS device?
Yes, I did.
And what did that notification provide to you?
That was a notification that Mr. Lychwick's vehicle was leaving his residence.
At this point, Detective, had Mr. Lychwick's phone been seized as part of the search of his residence?
Yes, it was.
And was there anything in particular found on his device that provided you with some insights of where you think Mr. Lychwick may have been going on that particular day?
Yes, I was informed by Detective Stern that there were some Google searches on the phone looking for different storage units up north, I think around the Oshkosh area.
What, if anything, did you and Detective Stern do next?
We were watching the location of Mr. Lychwick's vehicle, and then when we realized that he was not exhibiting normal driving behaviors, because we had been watching him for some time since this GPS had been on, he normally always stayed very local. Once we realized that he was going farther north, and that was outside of an abnormal pattern, we believed that he was potentially going to whatever storage unit he may have located from that Google search.
Did you and Detective Stern at that point then attempt to follow Mr. Lychwick's vehicle?
Yes, we did.
And when you were following Mr. Lychwick's vehicle out of Waukesha County, were you driving a fully marked police squad car at that point?
No, we were not. We were in an undercover vehicle.
And is that to ensure that Mr. Lychwick did not, I guess for lack of a better term, figure out that the police were following him?
That is correct.
And at that point, was it you and Detective Stern who were driving this undercover vehicle together?
Yes, I was riding and Detective Stern was driving.
Did you ultimately follow Mr. Lychwick's vehicle to a U-Haul storage facility?
Yes, we did.
And where was this U-Haul storage facility located?
Kimberly, Wisconsin. I believe it was 551 Marcella Drive.
If I told you your report said it was Marcellus Street, would you agree with that?
I would agree with that.
Did you and Detective Stern both follow the defendant's vehicle to that particular U-Haul facility in Kimberly?
Yes, we did. We caught up with Mr. Lychwick while he was at the U-Haul location.
And what did he do specifically when he arrived at this U-Haul facility?
When we arrived, his vehicle was parked on the north side of the building, and then he left several minutes later. We later found out that he had closed his account and closed his storage unit at this U-Haul facility and emptied all of his belongings out of the storage unit.
Is it fair to say that he did not spend a great deal of time at this U-Haul facility?
No, I believe he was only on premise for approximately 20 minutes.
And so after Mr. Lychwick finished his business at the U-Haul facility, did he then turn around and drive back to Waukesha County?
Yes, he did.
And did you and Detective Stern at that point follow the defendant's vehicle back to Waukesha County?
Yes, we did.
And did you maintain a constant visual on Mr. Lychwick's vehicle?
Yes, we did.
And did Mr. Lychwick's vehicle make any stops on its path of travel back to Waukesha County?
No, it did not.
And while Detective Stern was piloting the undercover vehicle that you were both in, did you utilize your phone to contact somebody?
Yes, I called the U-Haul storage facility that we were discussing, and I spoke with an employee there.
Detective, just to take a step back, based on your training and experience as a police officer, did you find the location of this particular storage unit in Kimberly suspicious?
Yes, I did.
Why did you find that sort of storage unit to be suspicious?
For several reasons. First off, the location and its proximity to Waukesha, where Mr. Lychwick resides. There's numerous storage units in our city and Waukesha County as well as Milwaukee County. I also found out that through the search warrant at the residence, he kept detailed notes regarding his budget, and every month he would budget approximately $40 to $50 for gasoline for the month. And I thought it was suspicious that being on a fixed income, he would, have a storage unit nearly 2 hours away and burning through that budget in one trip. So to us, it was clear that if he was trying to get a storage unit that far away, he was clearly trying to distance himself from whatever he was trying to put in that storage unit.
And when you followed Mr. Lychwick's vehicle back to Waukesha County, did you observe him toss anything out the window when he was driving back?
No.
And to your knowledge, was Mr. Lychwick the only individual in the vehicle at that time?
That is correct.
Detective, was there a point in time in which you responded back to the U-Haul facility in Kimberly after you followed Mr. Lychwick back to Waukesha County on December 1st?
Yes, I responded back there with Detective Bauer on December 2nd. I went back to speak with the U-Haul employee, Brianna Maloney. I believe that's how you pronounce her name. Brianna Maloney. I believe it's Maloney. She was the employee that I spoke to on the phone while riding back to Waukesha with Detective Stern, and she was the one that provided me all the information on the unit being closed and everything that day as well. So I responded up there to speak with her regarding pretty much our statement that she had given to me over the phone. So I took a written statement from her, locking in that conversation, as well as I walked through the storage unit confirming that there was no items left behind. And then I also met with her boss, Kenneth, who ran the U-Haul store, and I reviewed video surveillance from the day prior. And then I was able to gain all those videos of Mr. Lychwick while he was on property at the U-Haul store.
And so if I was to show you those videos here today in court, would you be able to tell us whether or not those are the same videos that you reviewed at the U-Haul on December 2nd of 2024?
Yes, I can do that.
Okay. Do you recognize these particular exhibits, sir?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Correct.
And do these exhibits fairly and accurately depict the U-Haul surveillance footage that you reviewed when you were on scene on December 2nd of 2024?
That is correct.
Your Honor, I would move all these exhibits, starting with State's Exhibit 93 and then concluding with State's Exhibit number 101 into evidence. These are each separate video clips. They are appropriately time-stamped as well with a date.
Mr. Lychwick, do you object to the admission of Exhibits 93 through 101? The defendant remains silent. Those exhibits will be admitted.
Thank you. And at this point, Your Honor, I would ask the court's permission to publish all of these videos to the jury.
Mr. Lychwick, any objection to publication of those videos at this time? The defendant remains silent. The videos may be used with the jury.
Thank you very much. So first and foremost, just to make a record, Detective, can you see the timestamp that's listed on the bottom of this video?
Yes, I can.
This is 3:16 in the afternoon on December 1st of 2024. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. Do you see an individual here depicted in this video that's to the right, is towards the right side of the picture, wearing black hair and has a black coat on, sir?
Yes, I do.
Who is that individual?
That is Kevin Lychwick.
Is that Mr. Lychwick closing out his storage unit?
Yes, it is.
This has been now received as State's Exhibit number 94. This is time-stamped as December 1st, 2024, and it looks like 3:18. Is that all correct, Detective?
That's correct.
Detective, do you recognize the vehicle that is depicted at the top of this exhibit?
Yes.
Whose vehicle is that, sir?
That is Mr. Lychwick's vehicle.
Again, this is December 1st of 2024 at 3:23 in the afternoon. Is that right, sir?
That's correct.
There is a vehicle that is depicted at the top of this exhibit. Do you see that?
Yes.
Is this Mr. Lychwick's vehicle as well?
Yes, it is.
Is there a gentleman that we see in the upper left-hand corner who exits the vehicle, sir?
Yes.
Is that Mr. Lychwick?
Yes, it is.
Do you know, based on your review of this footage, what Mr. Lychwick is doing at this point in time?
Yes, he's pulled up to this gate that he came in, but this is only a one-way gate. This is only the entrance, so he's trying to motion to employees to open the gate. And then when no one does that, he will get back in his vehicle and then drive around the building and go out the exit.
Do you know whether or not this is before or after Mr. Lychwick had cleared out his storage unit?
This is after.
Detective, this has been received as State's Exhibit 96. It's time-stamped 3/14/54 on December 1st of 2024. Detective, is this Mr. Lychwick's vehicle entering the property or exiting?
I do not believe that is Mr. Lychwick's vehicle.
Okay. Detective, Mr. Lychwick drove a Kia, is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. This is State's Exhibit 97 that's been received. This is December 1st of 2024, 3:29 in the afternoon, is that right?
That is correct.
And this particular exhibit depicts the inside of the U-Haul facility, is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. The state will start playing at 3:29:59. So the individual who was just depicted on this footage, that is not Mr. Lychwick, correct?
The male is Mr. Lychwick.
It is. Okay. You see Mr. Lychwick now at this point, sir?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Is he the gentleman who's wearing the black coat and blue jeans?
Yes, he is.
Okay. And this particular area of the U-Haul facility, sir, which is this, from your review of walking to the unit that was rented by Mr. Lychwick, is this the area in which his storage unit would have been in the facility?
No, so it's a little confusing. I believe right here they're walking back to like the front desk area where as they were appearing there, I think they are coming in from the north side of the building. So after Mr. Lychwick clears out his building or out of his storage unit, and then he moves his vehicle over there, he eventually will move his car over the north side of the building and then enter into the building, and then this is him entering the building, I believe. So this will be before that.
Okay.
This next one. This is when he will be clearing out his storage unit.
And this is State's Exhibit 98, is that right, sir?
Yes.
And this is 3:19 in the afternoon on December 1st, 2024?
Correct.
And this is the outside area of the U-Haul facility, is that right?
That is correct.
And I believe you just testified that Mr. Lychwick's vehicle will be coming into camera view shortly on this particular exhibit?
That is correct.
Okay, we'll let it run. And stopping it at 3:15:19. Is that Mr. Lychwick's vehicle, sir?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Resuming again, 3:15:19.
Hang on. The timestamp, you're reading it wrong, I believe. It's 3:19:41 is where you stopped it.
Yes, that is correct. It is 3:19:41 on December 1st of 2024. Do you see an individual depicted here who's exiting his vehicle now?
Yes, Mr. Lychwick will exit the driver's seat.
And does he pop the trunk area of his vehicle as well upon exiting the vehicle or before he exits the vehicle?
Yes, he does.
Okay. And at this point, Mr. Lychwick is the only individual who's in this particular vehicle from your review of the surveillance?
That's correct.
Okay. Letting this run again from 3:20:16.
I wish they would just keep the camera on the video.
Stopping it at 3:20:32. Where is Mr. Lychwick entering at this particular point, Detective?
He's entering Building C, which that is a hallway that door leads to a hallway, and there are storage units on both your left and right side in this building. His unit is, it will be down this hallway and on the right, the way he's walking.
I'm sorry. Resuming playing at 3:20:32.
Attorney Tombasco, it looks like the video's locking up just for a couple of seconds at various points. I think it's resumed again here.
Okay. Would the court like me to go back, or?
Why don't you go back just a couple of seconds?
Sure. Detective, do you see Mr. Lychwick in this vehicle?
He's at the rear of his vehicle, yes.
And do you know what Mr. Lychwick is doing at this point?
He is loading duffel bags into the trunk of his vehicle.
Do you know whether these duffel bags that you're testifying to, were those the same duffel bags that were from his unit?
I believe so.
Okay.
Well, we can't see it.
Okay. I'm stopping the exhibit at 32240. Detective, this has been received as State's Exhibit 99. This is time-stamped as 3/14/28 on December 1st, 2024. Stopping the exhibit at 3/14/48. Is this Mr. Lychwick's vehicle, sir?
Yes, it is.
Is this the entrance area to the U-Haul facility?
Yes, it is.
Resuming playing 3/14/48. I'm stopping the video at 3:15:55. Sir, is that Mr. Lychwick that you see exit the vehicle?
Yes, it is.
And there's nobody else in that vehicle at that time upon his arrival, is that right?
That is correct.
Looks like just two more surveillance clips I'd like to share with you. The first is State's Exhibit 100. This is time-stamped as 3/18/28. And again, just to orient the jury, this is again the front of the U-Haul facility, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And this is stopped at 3/18/49 on December 1st, 2024. This is Mr. Lychwick again, sir?
That is correct.
And this is him getting back into his vehicle after entering the facility?
Yes, and then he'll follow the van and then that white SUV into the entrance.
Okay. We'll resume playing here at 3/18/49.
I can't believe he is still calling him Lychwick. Do you guys think that could cause an appellate issue?
And then finally, Detective, timestamp 3/23/24 on December 1st, 2024. This has been received as State's Exhibit 101. Stopping at 3/23/34. Is this Mr. Lychwick's vehicle, sir?
Yes, it is.
And is that after he was unable to access the gate that we showed on a prior exhibit?
He's actually driving up to it right now. So this is him. He has just left his storage unit. because building C is the second one here, and his unit, he was parked on the far side. So he is fully loaded up, and now he's going over to the initial fence that he came in, and then he won't be able to get through there, and then he will come back because the exit is right here to the right of your screen.
I see. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Now, Detective, when you were on scene at the U-Haul facility, did you request any paperwork related to the rental of the storage unit by Mr. Lychwick?
Yes, I asked for what information they had on Mr. Lychwick.
You had testified earlier in this case that Mr. Lychwick's vehicle, you followed Mr. Lychwick's vehicle back to Waukesha County after he closed out his storage unit. Do you remember that, sir?
Yes.
And do you know whether there was a period of time in which Mr. Lychwick's vehicle was actually stopped?
I don't believe it ever did stop. There was, from the moment he left the U-Haul, there was, the vehicle was always moving.
Okay. Was there a point in time in which ultimately a traffic stop was effectuated on Mr. Lychwick's vehicle?
Yes.
And was that the same day that he was coming back from the U-Haul facility?
That's correct.
Okay. And do you know whether, as a result of that traffic stop, his vehicle was searched?
It would eventually be after a search warrant was obtained.
So the vehicle was seized initially, and then a search warrant was applied for and received?
That is correct.
And do you know what if anything, what was found as a result of that search?
Yes, I believe I called Detective Stern when I was at the U-Haul, informing him what I had observed on the cameras, where all of the items that Mr. Lychwick had loaded out of his storage unit were all in the trunk. And then Detective Stern told me later that a firearm was recovered in the trunk of the vehicle.
Do you know whether any paperwork related to Mr. Lychwick's storage unit was found in that particular vehicle?
Yes, so when I responded back to Waukesha after being at the storage facility, I assisted with going through some of the paperwork that was in the vehicle, and I also located some paperwork, specifically the U-Haul contract that Mr. Lychwick had with U-Haul for the dates of that storage unit from November 1st until December 1st,
and
as well as MapQuest directions from his address to that location.
If I was to show you a copy of that paperwork here today in court, would you recognize it?
Yes, I would.
Okay. Your Honor, this is another physical exhibit. It has been marked as State's Exhibit 149. I'm happy to show Mr. Lychwick a copy as well. I would ask permission to approach the witness to show him this exhibit.
Mr. Lychwick, would you like to see Exhibit 149? All right. The defendant just adjusted the collar on his jacket, but is refusing to acknowledge the court. So therefore, Attorney Tambasco, you may approach.
Thank you so much.
Lots of leading and hearsay going on. Darrell Brooks would have a field day with these prosecutors.
Detective, that exhibit has been marked as State's number 149. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
Is that particular U-Haul paperwork what was recovered from the search of the defendant's vehicle?
Yes, it is.
And that fairly and accurately depicts the copy of the U-Haul contract as well?
That is correct.
Your Honor, I'm out of the exhibit and evidence and ask that it be received.
Any objection to the admission of 149, Mr. Lychwick? Mr. Lychwick is not acknowledging the court. Exhibit 149 is received into evidence.
Thank you. Detective, is there a name on that particular contract?
Yes, there is.
What is the name listed on that contract?
Conrad Lychwick.
And do you know anything in reference to the name Conrad of any significance in this case?
Yes, I do.
And can you explain that?
I know Mr. Lychwick goes by the first name of Conrad.
And when the individual who rented that particular storage unit did so, does there an address that particular person provided?
Yes, they did.
And what address was provided?
1512 East North Street, apartment number 11.
And do you know whether or not that is in fact Mr. Lychwick's address?
It is.
And does the paperwork contain any information concerning any promotions that U-Haul was running at the time this rental took place?
I don't know if there's any promotions on here, but I do know that the staff members there told me that they were running a 1 month free promotion during that time. And it is indicated on this document 1 month free.
That's all the questions I have, Detective. Thank you.
Mr. Lychwick, do you have any cross-examination questions? Okay, Detective, you may step down.
Thank you. The state may call its next witness.
The state calls Brianna Maloney.
After Scholten, the state called the U-Haul storage assistant manager to testify. There wasn't much more information that Scholten hadn't already provided.
On or about December 1st of 2024, was this particular U-Haul facility running any kind of special promotion as it related to the first month's rent?
Yeah, we gave the first month free to new storage customers. That was ongoing for a longer period of time, yeah. Yes, when they sign up to have a storage unit with us, they sign a rental agreement, and then we also have a digital contract online in our own system.
With this particular set of paperwork in front of you, can you see a customer's name anywhere on any of those documents?
Yeah, on actually the move-out receipt, Conrad Lychwick.
Okay. Now, when you were working on December 1st of 2024, did you make face-to-face contact with this customer named Conrad Lychwick?
Not face-to-face, no. I was in the general vicinity when it happened. I wasn't in the same room. And my colleague that I was working with at that day let me know of the situation because he had come in to ask for our assistance with the move out.
What the storage unit number was?
Yes, room 679.
Okay. The afternoon of December 1st of 2024, did you receive a call from law enforcement regarding Mr. Lychwick's storage unit?
Yes.
Was that out of the ordinary for you to get a phone call from law enforcement about a customer storage unit?
Yes, very much so.
Did the officer who was on the phone with you ask about a customer named Conrad Lychwick?
Yes, he said Kevin or Conrad. Yes, I told him that we did have him as a customer about 15 minutes before because he had just finished moving out and left already.
At that point, did you go and check to make sure all of the items were removed from that storage unit?
After the phone call, yes.
Okay, about how long was the phone call, do you know?
Maybe 5-10 minutes long, not very long.
Had Mr. Lychwick already left the premises when you got the call from law enforcement?
Yes.
Okay. And when you checked that storage unit, it was completely empty. Is that fair to say?
Yes, correct.
Okay, I do not have any other questions for this witness.
Very well. Mr. Lychwick, do you have any questions for this witness on cross-examination? All right, Ms. Maloney, you may step down.
Thank you.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give in this matter before the court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. You may have a seat. Get yourself situated nice and close to the microphone, and when you are ready, please start by stating your name, spelling your first and last for the record.
My name is David Platta, D-A-V-I-D. Last name is Platta, P-L-A-T-T-A.
You may go ahead.
Thank you very much. And good afternoon, Mr. Platta. Can you please tell the jury what your rank within the Waukesha Police Department is, sir?
I'm a specialist at the Waukesha Police Department.
And how long have you been with the Waukesha Police Department, sir?
I'm in my 23rd year.
And directing your attention to October 30th of 2024, did you respond to 1512 East North Street?
Yes.
And did you respond to assist with the death investigation at that time, sir?
Yes.
And when you arrived at that particular location, were you tasked with specifically assisting with a search of apartment 13?
Yes.
Apartment 13 is the victim's apartment.
Did you, in fact, make entry into that particular apartment, sir?
Yes.
And when you made entry into the apartment, can you describe the condition of that particular apartment?
The apartment looked like a normal apartment, normal life. There didn't appear to be any sort of signs of a struggle. Didn't appear to be anything in disarray. It was a lived-in look in the apartment with nobody in it.
Did it appear to you to be fairly clean?
Yes.
And 2 days later, then, directing your attention to November 1st of 2024, did you respond back to apartment 13 at that particular residence?
Yes.
And were you tasked or were you specifically doing something specifically at apartment 13 on that day, sir?
Yeah, we were doing a more thorough investigation for suspicious circumstances, and it involved photography, a more detailed search of the apartment, and looking for any sort of signs of other evidence.
Did you process that particular apartment using a concept known as blue star latent blood stain reagent?
Yes.
And is reagent spelled R-E-A-G-E-N-T?
Yes.
And can you tell the jury what that is?
Blue star reagent is basically a different version of luminol. It will cause fluorescence if the presence of blood. We used that to see if there's any of the stains in the apartment were possibly blood. Throughout the apartment, I tested numerous different locations of stains. The only spot that had a slight reaction was the bathroom sink. However, which was a very minimal reaction, upon examining that, we did not observe any sort of blood or tissue or anything that was in the sink or around it, and the reaction was so minimal it was determined that it could have been just through natural use of the sink for shaving or other situations.
Which means he could not have been shot in that apartment. There would have been some evidence of blood splatter.
If Carlos had been killed in that, or excuse me, Mr. Maldonado had been killed in that particular apartment that he lived in, would you expect to have seen more of a reaction when you did the blue star latent bloodstained reagent?
It would depend on how or where he was killed. If he was killed on something that in there that could have been removed and that would have absorbed any blood, then we would not have had any reaction. But if it was not, we would probably expected to find at least some sort of reaction or something. If he was injured, that there would be something like where he tried to clean up from an injury, that there would be the reaction in a tub or a sink or somewhere.
Just in terms of your experience, how many times have you utilized this practice in the scope of your employment?
About a total of 6 times so far.
Now they are going to focus on the search of the defendant's vehicle.
Now, Detective, directing your attention now a little bit forward to December 2nd of 2024. On that particular day, were you called to provide service for the search warrant?
Yes.
And you were called in to provide service of a search warrant regarding Mr. Lychwick's vehicle, is that right?
Correct.
And when you arrived on the scene where Mr. Lychwick's vehicle was, were you tasked to do something specifically?
I assisted with the collection of evidence from the vehicle. My partner did most of the photography of it. Once evidence was collected and secured, I assisted in processing a couple of items that were recovered.
Do you know whether there was a particular boot that belonged to Mr. Lychwick that was recovered from the vehicle?
Yes, there was a heavier outside utility type boot.
Type of boot, sir?
Yes.
Okay. And did you do anything specifically with reference to this boot?
Yes, I observed that there was kind of a reddish stain on the boot, so we collected a couple of swabs of it in case it was possibly blood for further analysis.
And you used the word swab. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? What do you mean by swab?
For swabs, we have, they're sterile swabs. They're basically like a large Q-tip. They come in a package of 2. It's sterile from there. We remove it. We swab the item with like a wipe or 2, kind of like we're wiping it down, and then secure it into a sterile packaging for a cardboard box in order to maintain the integrity of any possible like DNA evidence from it.
And did you swab specific areas on this boot?
Yes, the areas of the reddish substance.
And just to remind the jury again, which areas did you observe the red substance on?
It was on the bottom of it and a little bit on the side of the boot.
Based on your training and experience, is that red substance consistent with that of being human blood?
At the time, I did not know if it was just suspected blood. I would not be able to say for sure at the time if it was 100% human blood or not. It just was a suspicious reddish substance at the time.
And what happened to the swabs that you actually executed with respect to this item? What happened after you finished with them?
I packaged them and sealed them, and I believe my partner would have taken them down to the crime lab at some point.
And who was your partner at this point?
Specialist Andrew Schmidt.
And Did you collect a total of 4 sets of swabs as it relates to this boot?
Yes.
When you were assisting with the search of Mr. Lychwick's vehicle, were you made aware of any firearms that were inside the vehicle?
Yes, there was one firearm located.
And do you know where this firearm was located?
I believe it was located in the trunk.
And when you were on scene, were you asked to also swab this particular firearm?
I did not swab the firearm on scene. We collected the firearms and all the rest of the evidence once we got it back into our processing area. Then that's where I swabbed the scene as we could maintain it in as sterile of an environment as possible for processing.
So basically the reason why you did not swab that firearm on scene was the environment was not appropriate.
Yes, correct. It was outdoor in our pole barn with numerous other items nearby. We wanted to keep it secured, isolated, so to prevent any sort of cross-contamination. Once we were able to finish that, we brought the items in so I could swab it in a more sterile environment to avoid any sort of contamination.
And when you completed the swabs of both the boot and this firearm, were you wearing gloves?
Yes, correct. We handle items with gloves, and when we're going to do DNA, we set up the items, set up our area, put on a fresh pair of gloves that has not touched anything other than anything until we are ready to swab the items, at which point we grab the sterile swabs, process the firearm, secure everything, and then repackage it. So the pair of gloves has not touched any items belonging to the suspect, myself, or the PD. They are removed from the box, put on, process the firearm, and then items are secured.
And the firearm that you located in Mr. Lychwick's vehicle, was it a silver Luger P-08?
Yes.
And in terms of the area that you swabbed this firearm, which areas did you swab specifically on this firearm?
I swabbed the grip area of the firearm, I swabbed the slide of the firearm, and then the trigger area of the firearm.
And why did you swab those particular areas of the weapon, sir?
Just from firearm handling, I know those are the primary areas that somebody will manipulate, so I try to collect those 3 swabs to have the highest potential for locating a person's DNA on the firearm.
So the reason why you swabbed those particular areas is because those are the commonly used areas. If an individual's DNA would be on the particular firearm, those would be the areas.
Yes.
Is that an appropriate clarification?
Yes.
Thank you. And do you know, ultimately, sir, the swabs that you collected from this Luger firearm, what happened to them after you finished with them?
Again, my partner, Specialist Schmidt, took them down to the crime lab for testing.
That's all the questions I have. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Lychwick, would you like to ask any cross-examination questions of this witness? All right. Specialist, you may sit down.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Let's hear what his partner, Specialist Andy Schmidt, said on the stand.
And how long have you been in law enforcement?
I'm in my 21st year.
And as a specialist, are you assigned to a specific area, or can you just tell the jury a little bit more? What does it mean that you're in fact a specialist?
I work in our evidence and forensics unit, which is a promotional position from the patrol position.
And sir, directing your attention to November 8th of 2024, on that particular day, do you recall transporting some items to the crime lab for analysis?
I do.
And that's what you submitted on this particular day, is that right, sir?
That's correct.
Okay, Your Honor, I now move the exhibit into evidence and ask that it be received.
Mr. Lychwick, any objection to Exhibit 109 being received? It will be received.
Okay. Sir, in terms of this particular item, did you transmit to the crime lab several different items that are identified as white rope?
I did. Okay.
Do you know the significance of that white rope in terms of the investigation?
I am aware of it, yes.
Okay. What is the significance, sir?
White rope or rope-like substances had been located around the victim. And we had also, and that white rope in particular on this transmittal was obtained during the autopsy process.
Okay. And sir, on this particular date as well, did you submit a cardboard box that contained copper-colored metal projectiles?
I did.
And what is in fact, did you submit 2 cardboard boxes containing projectiles?
Yes.
And what is the significance of these projectiles, sir?
Those projectiles were located within the tarp where the victim had been located.
Okay. And so these 2 projectiles had come from the victim in this case?
Yes, that's what it was believed.
Just one moment, sir. You were saying? Specialist Schmidt, directing your attention now to December 2nd of 2024. Were you involved in the search of the defendant, Mr. Lychwick's vehicle on that particular day?
Yes, I was.
And in his particular vehicle was a Kia, is that right?
That's correct.
Would it be fair to say that the Kia was a gray-colored vehicle in nature?
Yes.
And in terms of the search of the vehicle, where specifically did this vehicle search take place?
The vehicle search took place in the Waukesha Police Department's pole barn.
Okay. And was the vehicle actually transported there from the site of a traffic stop?
It was, yes. We wanted to search the vehicle, and we knew that there were several items in that vehicle, so the pole barn was chosen because there was more room to operate and to conduct a better and methodical search. Knowing how this investigation was going, we wanted to make sure that we searched the vehicle thoroughly and also documented the items that we removed from the vehicle appropriately. I've been a part of searches in the past where vehicles kind of get ransacked and people don't understand where items came from. That's not what we wanted to do with this investigation. We wanted to make sure that everything was thoroughly documented and where it came from.
Okay. And were certain measures or steps taken in order to preserve the integrity of the vehicle search when it was conducted?
Yes. Each compartment of the vehicle was searched individually, and as items were removed from that vehicle, we had placed clean white tarps down on the ground, so that way we wouldn't get anything dirty or contaminated. Each of those white tarps was labeled with the compartment of the car that it came from. We didn't move on to another compartment of the vehicle until we were done and satisfied that we had thoroughly searched that compartment of the car and we had satisfied what we were looking for.
So essentially you put out separate labels to denote each specific area of the vehicle so you knew what item came from what location of the vehicle.
That's correct.
And to your knowledge, do you know whether Mr. Lychwick's vehicle trunk was searched?
It was.
Okay. And as a result of that search, do you know whether any particular firearms were located, sir?
A firearm was located in the trunk, yes.
And what type of firearm was that, if you recall, sir?
It was a semi-automatic pistol that was of the Luger style from a World War II era.
And, sir, if I showed you a copy of that firearm here today in court, do you think you would recognize it from the search?
I would.
Your Honor, this has been previously marked as State's Exhibit number 157. I would ask the court's permission now to approach the witness so I can show him this specific exhibit.
Mr. Lychwick, would you like to examine 157 first? All right, Mr. Lychwick looked at the court and did not acknowledge the court, so Attorney Tombasco, you may approach with it.
Thank you very much. And you are aware which type of firearm is located within that particular glove box?
I am.
And there is something taped to the package of that exhibit, is that right, sir?
That is correct.
What is that?
The bullets that were included with the magazine originally and the 2 test-fired projectiles that came from the crime lab that were also packaged originally inside the box.
And can you give us a little bit more? What exactly is a gun box, sir?
A gun box is a standard cardboard box that we typically package firearms in.
And is that box completely sealed, sir?
It is.
Okay. And that is indeed the firearm as you recall it when it was seized from Mr. Lychwick's vehicle?
Yes.
Your Honor, I move the exhibit into evidence and ask that it be received.
Any objection to the exhibit 157, Mr. Lychwick? Mr. Lychwick is not responding. That will be received.
I had, knowing that this firearm was going to be brought in for an exhibit, I had removed the packaging that was included inside the box. Prior history with courts, sometimes the judges don't want ammunition inside the box, so I wanted to remove it ahead of time if it was not going to be allowed.
And Your Honor, at this point, I know it's a very sensitive exhibit, but I would ask that the witness be allowed to break the seal and then published by walking back and forth to show the jury the firearm.
Any objection to that proposal, Mr. Lychwick? Hearing none, I will grant that request.
Specialist Schmidt, when that firearm was discovered, was there anything in particular that you located of evidentiary value on the barrel?
There were some blue rags that appear to be like shop rags that were attached to the firearm with several rubber bands.
Okay. And when the search was completed, was that disrupted in any way, or was that just the way that you found it?
That was just the way we had found it.
So you didn't add either the towel or the rubber bands when you transported it back to your evidence room for safekeeping?
No.
Now, Specialist Schmidt, when you were engaged in the search of this particular vehicle, did you locate any ammunition that correspond to that particular firearm?
Yes.
Okay. And if I showed you that here today in court, would you recognize it from that particular search?
Yes.
Specialist Smith, did you transport any of the projectiles that came from the victim in this case?
To the crime lab?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. And so would you recognize them here today in court if I showed them to you?
Yes.
And Your Honor, once again, I have two physical exhibits here. They're marked as 155 and 156. I'm happy to show them as well to Mr. Lychwick. I would ask that I be allowed to approach the witness after doing so and show these to him.
Mr. Lychwick, would you like to see exhibits 155 and 156? Mr. Lychwick is not responding. Attorney Tombasco, you may approach the witness.
Thank you.
The two exhibits are cardboard boxes with our Waukesha police evidence inventory labels on them. And then heat sealed above them are two metal projectiles.
And do you know whether those two projectiles were the ones that came from the victim in this case?
Yes, those are the ones.
And again, you did transport those to the lab for further analysis, is that right?
I did.
Okay. Your Honor, I now move the two exhibits into evidence and ask that it be received.
Any objection, Mr. Lychwick, to 155 and 156? Hearing no objection, they are received.
Specialist Nelson, I asked you a few moments ago about some of the towels that were found on the Luger firearm. Do you recall that, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Why were those not disturbed when you located this firearm in the defendant's trunk?
Given the circumstances of this investigation, it was decided to not disturb them or to try to remove them. Our expertise in firearms is pretty substantial. However, the crime lab has better quality control and they're able to better process those items more than what we're capable of.
Sir, was there a point in time in this investigation where you made another run and brought additional items to the crime lab?
I transported items 2 separate times to the crime lab, yes.
Okay. And do you know whether one of those times involved buccal swabs that came from Mr. Lychwick himself?
Yes. 4 DNA swabs from the defendant obtained from his left and right cheek.
And do you know when these were brought to the crime lab, sir?
Shortly after December 6th.
Yeah, I now move the exhibit in evidence and ask that it be received.
Any objection to this exhibit, Mr. Lychwick? There is no objection from the defendant. Attorney Tombasco, this was 108.
Sir, you mentioned just a few moments ago that you had made a third trip with items that were recovered to the crime lab. Do you recall that, sir?
Yes.
Do you recall when you made that trip, sir?
I made a trip December 5th, I believe.
Okay. And sir, when you made that trip or before you made that trip, would you have also filled out a transmittal form for that particular trip as well?
Yes, each trip to the crime lab requires its separate transmittal.
Okay. Does it indicate whether some particular swabs were sent to the crime lab?
Yes.
And specifically, does it indicate several swabs for DNA from several boots?
Yes.
Do you know whose boots these are that were swabbed?
These were boots that were located in the defendant's vehicle.
Yeah, I now move the exhibit in evidence and ask that it be received.
Any objection to the receipt of Exhibit 110, Mr. Lychwick? Hearing none, it will be received.
Specialist, do you know whether the boots that were swabbed were seized by the police in this case?
They were. We wouldn't swab them without seizing them.
Okay. And if I showed you those here today in court, would you be able to recognize whether those were the boots that were actually seized?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, for the record, these have been marked as State's Exhibit 150 for the right and State's Exhibit number 150A for the left boot. Once again, I'm happy to show them to Mr. Lychwick if he would like. I'd be asking to approach the witness.
Attorney Tombasco, you said 150 and 150A?
Correct. 150 is for the right boot and 150A is for the left boot.
Mr. Lychwick, would you like to examine those before they are presented to the witness? Mr. Mr. Lychwick doesn't respond, despite making eye contact with the court. You may proceed.
Swipe back and forth.
I think I just said that we'd like you to just stay at the witness stand. If you could just hold them up, and I'll ask that the record reflect the witness is holding up both the boots that have been received as an exhibit for the jury's view.
It will reflect. Mr. Lychwick, would you like to ask this witness any questions on cross-examination? Mr. Lychwick does not acknowledge the court. Therefore, specialist, you may step down. Thank you.
Next, we hear what the lab found with the swabs they submitted to the crime lab. A swab taken from the bottom of Lychwick's left boot yielded a low-level partial DNA profile. This means that much of the genetic information was missing or degraded, making it impossible for experts to interpret a complete profile. However, she confirmed that the limited information available from that partial profile was consistent with Kevin Lychwick's own DNA profile, not the victim's blood.
Pamela Taylor, Pamela-Taylor.
Ms. Taylor, how are you employed?
I'm employed with the Wisconsin State Crime Laboratory in Milwaukee as a DNA analyst.
How long have you been with the Wisconsin State Crime Lab?
Over 12 years.
Do you recognize Exhibit 112?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
This is the report I wrote for R242973.
And is this a result of the DNA analysis you conducted on the various items listed in or on page 1?
Yes.
Is that your signature at the top of the report there as well?
Yes.
And what's the date of this report?
February 24th, 2025.
Is this a fair and accurate record of the report that you submitted at the conclusion of your DNA analysis in this case?
Yes, it is.
Have you made any additions, corrections, or modifications to this report?
No.
At this time, I would move Exhibit 112 into evidence and ask to publish to the jury.
Mr. Lychwick, any objection to Exhibit 112 coming into evidence? There's no objection from the defendant. It is received. Any objection to 112 being published, Mr. Lychwick? The defendant does not acknowledge the court. It may be used with the jury.
This list of items we see here, those are all designations that the crime lab has used to identify each of these items. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if we look at items C through F, those are ropes from around Carlos Maldonado's body. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, item G, pulled scalp hair from Carlos Maldonado. What was the purpose of the scalp hair? Or I guess maybe a better question would be, what can you potentially do with scalp hair as it relates to DNA analysis?
Typically, when we have a decedent, we will get a dried blood standard from an autopsy, and this is used as the same as a buccal swab standard from an individual that's living, and this is basically to produce a single source known profile for comparisons. In this case, the condition of Mr. Maldonado's blood was not sufficient to do for testing, so a substitute from the scalp to possibly produce a DNA profile.
And in just kind of foreshadowing, were you able to develop a DNA profile of Mr. Maldonado from this scalp hair?
No.
And why was that?
So while it was attempted, no profile was able to be developed based on the amount of bacteria that was present in the sample.
Okay. Then going to item AD, that appears to be a pistol with towels wrapped around the barrel and rubber bands and a magazine. Did I read that correctly?
Yes. When I received the item for AD, the pistol with the towels and the rubber bands, it came in as a whole unit. So when I received it, I then took it apart in steps with a photographer, and I took the rubber bands off, put those and sub-designated those towels. So those were sub-designated separately, and then the pistol and the magazine. So each of the items were separated and then
sections of them were given certain designations before testing was conducted.
Now, when we go to items AE, AF, AG, and AH, those are swabs from various locations on the pistol item AD, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then item AJ, is that a buccal swab standard from an individual named Kevin W. Lychwick?
Yes, it is.
Do you know who Kevin Lychwick is?
No.
Do you need to know who he is in order to perform your DNA analysis?
No, I do not.
And just like Mr. Maldonado, it's better that you don't know.
Yes, it's a conflict of interest if I know anybody in any of the cases that I analyze.
Okay. So when we talk about the rope from around Carlos Maldonado's ankles, blood was not detected on that. Is that correct?
Correct.
And then when we talk about the interior blue towel around the barrel of the pistol, blood was not detected on that.
Correct.
When we talk about the exterior blue towel on the pistol, was blood identified on that?
Yes.
As we go to this DNA analysis section here, once you start processing these items for DNA analysis, are there some items that you attempted DNA isolation, but you were unable to develop profiles from these items?
Yes.
And would those be the items where we see the words inconclusive or present but limited?
Yes.
Okay. So when we look at in the middle here, where my cursor is, we have items AA1, AB1, and AE1. Do you see that?
Yes.
If we specifically look at AB1 and AE1, those are swabs from the magazine of the pistol. Is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. So what I was looking at is AD1A, which is the swabbing of the barrel of the handgun, and AG1, which is swabs from the slide of the Luger pistol. Do you see that?
Yes.
So now if we go back to that line in your report, we can see that present limited and then unsuitable. So as it relates to those two swabs from the pistol, what were you able to get any DNA from those?
Those both had DNA in the samples, but were both insufficient and under that threshold, so they stopped at this point. And unsuitable just means it's unsuitable for further DNA testing.
So while we had swabs from the slide and the trigger of the pistol, we were unable to continue with DNA analysis. Is that correct?
Yes, typically when you have two males in the same case, Y testing is a little irrelevant.
Okay. Now, if we go to the bottom of page 3 here, we can see buccal swab standard from Kevin W. Lychwick, which was designated as item AJ1. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And this is a single source male profile. Single source profile. Is that correct?
Yes.
So now this is what we're using to compare to any other DNA profile that we see throughout the testing of these items.
The buccal swab standard is used for comparisons to any of the evidence that has been developed.
You mentioned earlier, Ms. Taylor, that when the firearm in this case was received, it was wrapped up in towels. Is that fair to say?
The barrel of the firearm was wrapped up in towels, yes.
Thank you. And now, there was another individual present who was taking photos of the firearm as it was unraveled piece by piece. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Are these photos of the firearm as it came in from the police department?
Yes.
I would move exhibits 158 to 163 into evidence.
Any objection to the admission of those exhibits, Mr. Lychwick?
This is outrageous. I never saw this gun before. This is not my pistol.
That is not an objection. Therefore, those exhibits will be received.
Thank you. I would also ask to publish to the jury.
Any objection to publication of those exhibits, Mr. Lychwick?
I object to all of this.
Your objections noted. Over the objection of the defense, these pictures may be used with the jury.
When you started analyzing this firearm, did you note anywhere in the case file that there was any kind of break in the seal or any evidence of tampering or otherwise concerning that would lead you to believe the integrity of this item might be compromised?
No. Upon receipt of this item in the front office, it would have been noted in the case file, and I did not. If I had noticed anything that was not normal in the packaging of this item, I would also note it.
And where my cursor is, top right of Exhibit 158, is that the magazine for this pistol?
It is a magazine. I am not sure 100% myself, because I'm not a firearm examiner, if it is belonging to this pistol or not. It did come received with it.
Okay, that's fair. Thank you. Now, if we move on to Exhibit 158. I'm sorry, 159. Is this a closer view of Exhibit 158?
Yes, this is the firearm without the magazine.
Okay. Now 160?
Yes, this was after I removed the outside collection of rubber bands from the first outside towel.
And as you start removing these rubber bands, are you wearing gloves?
Yes.
And do you have intention on analyzing these rubber bands to see if there's any DNA on them?
Yes, I did.
What about the towel? Do you attempt DNA analysis on that towel?
Yes.
As you continue unraveling, if we go to Exhibit 161, do we now see more rubber bands wrapped around the interior blue towel around the barrel of this pistol?
Yes.
Do you go through the same process as you did for the exterior towel, where you remove all the rubber bands and unravel this blue towel?
Yes.
Is the removal of the rubber bands depicted in 162?
That's the removal of the majority of the interior rubber band set. And then once that second towel was removed, the rubber bands that are around the end of the barrel there are separated and added to that collection.
Okay. And then Exhibit 163, what is this?
That is the pistol without all of the towels and rubber bands attached.
Okay. I am going to bring to you what has previously been marked as State's Exhibit 157. If you look on the outside of Exhibit 157, do you see any yellow stickers consistent with what the crime lab would put on this item?
Yes, this one here is the subdesignation for the firearm and everything in it contained in this box.
Now, Ms. Taylor, when we were talking earlier about rough and smooth surfaces and which one is a little bit easier or more likely to retain the DNA, the grip of this gun, from what you could tell, was it more of a rough surface or a smooth surface?
Aside from the tape, which produces a smoother surface, the actual grip is more rough.
Okay, and when you received this firearm, as we see in Exhibit 163, that black masking or black duct tape, was that already around the grip of this pistol?
Yes.
Now, if we go back to your report, which is Exhibit 112, but now we are at item AE1, is that correct?
Yes.
And that's the swabs from the grip of that pistol in front of you in Exhibit 157?
Yes.
Were you able to come to a conclusion as it relates to the DNA present on the swab from the grip of the pistol?
This was developed as a single source male profile, meaning there's one contributor to this profile. And at the number of repeats at each of those locations, I have one set of numbers for each of the 23 locations. And then when compared with Mr. Kevin Lychwick's profile. The numbers in his profile were the same as the ones in the evidence profile, so I can say they're consistent. And it gives the same random match probability statistic of 1 and 1 quadrillion profiles in the unrelated population.
So you would have to have profiles from a quadrillion people before you even have a chance of seeing this same set of numbers or this same profile?
Yes.
And actually, as I look on the back of this, do you see a date and initial on the back of that bag?
Yes. Once I reseal each of the items of packaging, I tape them and then I initial and date the day that I sealed them back up.
Okay. So now, knowing that this item was sealed by you, and it still is now, in opening it with a pair of scissors.
Attorney Thompson, why don't you have the witness open that?
Okay.
She can open it. You can return to counsel table for the questioning.
Okay. I will leave these with you, and I will certainly get you a pair of gloves.
So the exterior rubber band swabs were separated into 2 samples. So AD is the firearm, and then AD3 are the rubber bands on the exterior of this firearm around the towel. So then there's AD3A and B, and that just is basically those rubber bands separated into 2 samples, A and B. So this is the first set of rubber bands. They're not different than the other ones. They were just separated into little piles. So in this one, it is a 3-person mixture, so 3 people are contributing to the profile. I can say at least one of these is male. And then this was separated into the percentages of those 3 contributors and then run against 2 different standards. And Mr. Polly is a very strong supporter of exclusion, meaning he's most likely not one of those 3 people. And then Mr. Lychwick's profile was compared, and it is very strong support for inclusion that this profile is made up of Mr. Lychwick and 2 other unknown individuals than if it is made up of 3 unknown people.
Continuing through your report, we now get to a swabbing of rubber bands around the exterior towel and the interior towel with different sub-designations. Is that correct?
Yes.
And while you were able to obtain DNA profiles from these particular areas, were you able to either identify a single source profile or a mixture?
In this case, they were both mixture profiles.
Okay, and were you able to come to any conclusions like we just saw in the chart before?
In this case, both of those samples were found to be a close match to a possible other profile, so they weren't used because they weren't confidently not compromised in any way. So while they were reported, they weren't used for any interpretation of inclusion or exclusion.
If we continue moving through your report then, we're next looking at the swabbing of rubber bands around the interior blue towel on the pistol. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you've already opened those items on the stand that are item AD4, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, on these swabbings of the rubber bands from the interior blue towel, you identified a 3-person mixture. Is that correct?
Yes.
And now, can you explain your results?
That it is made up of Mr. Lychwick's profile and 2 unknown people, or is it better explained that it's 3 unknown people? In this case, it is a very strong support for inclusion that Mr. Lychwick's profile and 2 other people better explain the evidence than if it is made up of 3 other people.
And again, we see that 1 quadrillion number. Is that right?
That's correct.
Now, when we move to the exterior blue towel, that's item AD5. Is that correct?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor, I provided you brown bags that are marked as exhibits 141 and 148. Do you see the exhibit sticker on there?
Yes.
Are the contents of those bags identified by a yellow sticker from your crime lab?
Yes.
Now, Ms. Taylor, you're holding up what's marked as State's Exhibit 148, which is the exterior towel.
Yes, one of the samples was confirmatory tested with the human trace test with blood, and was confirmed to be positive. The other sample was done with a presumptive test for saliva and was also positive. We have no confirmatory test for saliva, but the sample was still cut for DNA analysis.
And when you analyze both the cutting of the blood staining and then the cut of a stain on the exterior towel, did you observe single source male profiles consistent with each other?
Yes.
Okay, and are they consistent then with the profile from Kevin Lychwick?
Yes, they are.
And again, we see here that 1 quadrillion number, is that right?
That's correct.
Now, item AD5C appears to be another cutting of a stain on the exterior towel, is that correct?
Yes. And in this case, it is a very strong support for inclusion that the profile is better explained with Mr. Lychwick's profile in an unknown individual.
So now, based on what you see here, at 3 different cuttings or locations on this exterior blue towel, we have Mr. Lychwick's DNA profile on.
The probability is higher in those 3 locations, yes.
Okay. Now, you should have Exhibit 141 in front of you, is that correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay, can you open that, please?
Attorney Thompson, are you moving Exhibit 148 into evidence?
I will be, yes.
Okay, well,
I'm sorry.
I should have.
I thought I did. If I did not, I would move Exhibit 148 and 141 into evidence.
Mr. Lychwick, any objection to the receipt of Exhibits 148 and 141?
I object to all of this. That's not my pistol. I don't know how my DNA got on there.
Mr. Lychwick, if you want to make a legal objection, you can do that, but editorializing or trying to testify will not be allowed. Do you have a legal objection to the admission of these exhibits? Hearing none, they are admitted.
I object.
Your objection is noted without any basis. These exhibits are entered into evidence.
Thank you.
You may continue, Attorney Thompson.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Judge. Now, Exhibit 141, is that identified by the crime lab on that yellow sticker as AD6?
Yes.
And then were there 4 sections that were swabbed on that towel that were sub-designated as AD6A through D?
Yes.
Okay. Now, can you please, if you have not already, can you open Exhibit 141 and hold that up for the jury?
Attorney Thompson, hang on. Are you asking for publication to the jury?
Yes, please.
Okay. Mr. Lychwick, do you object to the publication of this exhibit to the jury?
I strenuously object.
All right. That is noted. The exhibit is in evidence, and it will be published to the jury. So now you may proceed.
Okay, and just so the record can reflect, Ms. Taylor held up the interior blue towel and then she turned it around, holding it up in front of the jury. Now, at the conclusion of your analysis of these 4 sections, did you identify single source male profiles on each of those sections consistent with each other?
Yes.
And are those profiles consistent with the profile of Kevin Lychwick?
Yes, they are.
And when it talks about single source, that's one contributor. It's a one-to-one comparison.
That's correct.
Okay, so in an overview then, when we talk about the exterior blue towel, the interior blue towel, the grip of this pistol, and the rubber bands, whether it's a single source profile or a mixture, we're seeing either profiles consistent with Kevin Lychwick or very strong support for inclusion of Kevin Lychwick.
That's correct.
I have no other questions for this witness. Thank you.
Attorney Thompson, I do not have exhibits 142 or 143 in evidence. Are you moving those in?
I am. Yes, please.
Mr. Lychwick, any objection to the admission of 142 and 143?
I strenuously object.
Okay, over the objection, those exhibits will be received. And Attorney Thompson, are you moving Exhibit 111 in the Statement of Qualifications?
Yes. So before Ms. Taylor leaves the stand, I would move Exhibits 111, 112, 158 through 163, 157, 157's already been admitted, 142, 143, 141, and 148.
I had all of those other ones already in. The only one I didn't were the only ones I didn't were the ones I mentioned. So, Mr. Lychwick, any objection to 111, the statement of qualifications
I
coming in?
strenuously object to this all.
Okay. Over the defense objection, 111 will be received as well. Mr. Lychwick, do you have cross-examination questions?
Yes, I do.
All right, you may begin.
Is it possible for an outside individual to place someone's DNA on an object, to attach them to an object that they had never touched before, perhaps? Is it, in your opinion, that's possible?
It is possible, yes.
At this point, I have no other questions for this witness. Thank you for answering.
Any redirect?
No.
Okay, you may step down. Ladies and gentlemen, it's 10 minutes to noon, so we are going to take our lunch break right now. Thank you. You may be seated. Is there anything we need to place on the record before we break, Attorney Thompson?
No, thank you.
Mr. Lychwick?
Yes. Again, I strongly object to these proceedings. I am unprepared to defend myself, and I am sickly. I should be in a hospital.
Mr. Lychwick,
not prepared to be here. And you dragged me here against my will. I am here under duress, and I protest.
Mr. Lychwick, your objections and your protestations are noted for the record. The court has ruled on those, and the trial will continue at 1 p.m. We'll see you then.
I was hoping that she would find some of the victim's DNA on the gun if he had been close enough when it was fired. However, they will be bringing another witness in that will connect the bullets found in the victim's remains to the same gun we just heard about.
First name is David, D-A-V-I-D. Last name, Feyen, F-E-Y-E-N.
Sir, how are you employed?
I'm a detective with the City of Waukesha Police Department.
How long have you been so employed?
24 years.
Do you currently have a special assignment within the City of Waukesha Police Department?
Yes, I do.
And what is that assignment?
So I'm one of two members of our digital forensic unit, formerly known as computer forensics unit. We are responsible for anything evidentiary that comes into our department that has to do with digital evidence, i.e. cloud download, cell phone extractions, laptops, computers, thumb drives, memory cards, things of that nature.
Or did you obtain any kind of specialized training or certifications to be able to understand this data that you're extracting and also use the software tools that allow you to do that?
Yes, I have been doing this since approximately 2012. In that time, I've had continued education throughout my career as the DFU unit, and I probably have accumulated over 800 hours of formalized training. That does not include, speaking with other people and kind of doing informal training. I probably do about 200 exams per year of a device or a computer. I've gone through training with IASIS, the International Association of Computer Specialists, and they've received their certification. I've also received certifications from Cellbrite, Magnet, several other companies in terms of using their software and their tools to do extractions both on cell phones and computers. Received training down through the Secret Service at NCFI in Alabama on a variety of computer and network examinations for forensics.
I think it's safe to say this guy has been well educated in his field.
So the process is that I will obtain the physical device either directly from an investigator, police officer, detective, or it'll be in our evidence room. I'll check that device out, bring it up to our lab. And I also examined the search authority, making sure we have a valid search warrant or consent to search the device. Then I will make sure I can isolate it from networks. So that means putting the phone into airplane mode if I can. If I can't, I'll try to remove the SIM card from the phone and to take that out to isolate it from cellular networks.
Last resort is we have a specialized room within our department where you can walk into and close the doors and shuts out all radio frequencies. And this way I protect the phone from receiving or sending any messages out or getting wiped remotely. And then once I've secured the phone and isolated from networks, I'll then connect it to two of our primary devices, either a magnet gray key or a Cellbrite UFED device to help extract the data from the phone. Once I extract the data from the phone, I can use another software tool. In this case, we use Cellbrite physical analyzer software to help decode and let me sort through and sift through and view all the pictures, text messages, call logs, all the information that's on the phone that you see as a user, as well as a lot of information you don't actually see as a user. It's hidden, such as log files and GPS locations.
You talked about making sure that you put the phone in airplane mode or otherwise prevent it from accessing the network. What concerns do you have about the data within the phone if it stays connected to the network as you're trying to make this forensic image?
Well, we want to keep the phone as, fresh as possible, as close to the event. So I don't want new data to come in the way of pop-up messages, Facebook messages, somebody calling the phone, because that can push out and delete old information that I may have needed. I also don't want, if the owner happens to be out of custody and they have access or they call a friend, I don't want them to send a remote wipe signal and have the phone sitting in my hands and all of a sudden it reboots and it says, welcome, please set up your new phone. I don't want that to happen because once that happens, I've lost all my data. So it's important to isolate it from cellular networks and Wi-Fi networks.
Okay. Then you take that extraction or the full file system, if that's what you were able to obtain, and then you put that into the Cellbrite physical analyzer, and that's the software that kind of decodes everything in that full file system you obtained. Is that correct?
Yes.
Does it also matter if you have the passcode to get into the phone in terms of how much data you can retrieve from the phone, or whether it's that partial or full file system?
Yes, having passcode certainly helps. We have ways to get around some passcodes, not all of them. But yes, if I'm able to go around the passcode, sometimes I get slightly less data. But again, it's a wide range of information we can get depending on the phone, the operating system, the updates from Cellbrite or Gray Key in terms of how much data we can get from it. There's a lot of variables that are involved.
And going back to October and November of 2024, were you approached by Detective Stern to assist with the forensic examination of 4 digital devices?
I believe it was 5 altogether.
5 altogether. Okay, thank you for correcting me. In focusing on a cell phone that belonged to Carlos Maldonado, a phone belonging to Kevin Lychwick, and 2 SD cards. Were those 4 of the 5 devices you were provided by Detective Stern or requested to extract by him?
Yes.
Okay. Starting with the phone then that was belonging to Carlos Maldonado, was that a Samsung phone?
Yes, it was.
And were you able to obtain a full file system extraction for his phone?
Yes.
Do you review the forensic image yourself, or do you give it back to the detectives to review, or a mixture of both, or something else?
I'd say it's a mixture of both, again, case dependent. Sometimes I will turn over the Cellbrite report that's created after I generate it and give it to the investigator and say, you know the case better than I do, you look through it. In this case, I looked at it first, found some artifacts of interest, and then turned it over to Detective Stern to actually have him look at it because he had a bigger view of what was going on, and then he was able to find artifacts that were relevant for this case. So it's kind of a mixture of both.
Are either you or the detectives reviewing it able to create a bookmark report that is generated through Cellbrite?
Yes.
Or when you reviewed the extraction from Mr. Maldonado's phone, did you find any artifacts that told you that the user of this phone was Mr. Maldonado?
Yes. The name of the phone, which is something that you can create, I think it was Carlos's, and it had the model number after it. It was Carlos's, and then the model number of the phone after it. There was a Facebook account associated with him. His name appeared several times in the phone itself. There was a lot of selfie pictures taken with the phone in a selfie format of him, clear. So those, a lot of user artifacts which led back to Mr. Maldonado.
Were you able to view Mr. Maldonado's browser history, specifically at 7:38 p.m. on April 13th of 2024?
Yes. I was trying to establish a timeline of when the phone was last used. And sometimes people aren't always calling or texting, sometimes they're web surfing instead of that. So I'm looking to find out when is the last time that phone is being used.
Did you note any outgoing activity on April 14th, 2024 at 9:20 and 31 seconds in the morning?
Yes, I did.
Did you see the phone number that was called?
I did. Yeah, it was the Home Depot in Delafield, Wisconsin.
Once you see that outgoing call and you look for the rest of the day on April 14th of 2024, and maybe even in the days following, did the phone receive text messages?
Yes.
Did the phone receive incoming calls?
Yes.
Are you able to tell if any of those text messages or phone calls were answered or if they were missed?
I could see that they were all missed.
So after that outgoing call at 9:20 and 31 seconds in the morning, nothing else gets returned in terms of text or calls?
Correct.
Now moving on to the 2 SD cards that you were provided by Detective Stern.
The imaging process takes the physical card. In this case, it was a micro SD card, a 32 gigabyte Waze brand, WYZE branded memory card, and I place it into what's called a write blocker. And a write blocker is a piece of physical hardware attached to my computer, and what it does when it's turned on, it prevents any computer from writing, modifying, deleting any data that's on that evidentiary, in this case, memory card. So if I were just to try to open the memory card, I can view everything that's on it. I can make a copy of it, but I cannot tamper or change anything on the actual card itself. So the process is once I insert the card into this write blocker, I use a tool called FTK Imager. And then I create a bit-for-bit copy of everything that's on that card. And once I have the image of the card, I then can point my forensic tools at the image, and then the card itself goes back into evidence.
Did you review every single item that, or I guess video or image that was on that copy?
No, I took a really brief glance at what it was, but I did not go every single video clip.
And were you able, so they were all video clips on this image copy?
They were all video clips.
Okay, and that would have been then provided to the investigating detectives for them to review it and see if there was anything of evidentiary value on there?
That's correct.
Lastly then, were you provided a Samsung phone belonging to an individual by the name of Kevin Lychwick?
I was.
And did the phone have a passcode?
This phone did not have a passcode.
Okay. Now, did you perform that same 2-step process that we talked about you performing on Mr. Maldonado's phone?
Yes.
And from Mr. Lychwick's phone, were you able to obtain a full file system extraction?
Yes. Again, just like the first phone, I did a preliminary review of the phone results. I bookmarked several items, but then I turned everything over to Detective Stern, again, who had a better view of the whole case in chief to review and find the evidence that was really important.
I have no further questions for this witness. Thank you.
Mr. Lychwick, do you have cross-examination questions for this witness? Mr. Lychwick is not responding to the court. Therefore, Detective, you may step up.
We are outside the presence of the jury. I'll just make a record of my observations of the defendant during that period of testimony. The defendant continued to remain seated in his wheelchair with his arms crossed. His eyes were closed for most of the testimony. When Detective Feyen started testifying, he appeared to be looking at Detective Feyen through heavily squinted eyes, as though he were keeping them mostly closed, but still taking peeks at the detective when he testified. Otherwise, the defendant was similarly non-responsive as he has been so far for most of today. Anything the state wants to place on the record before we break?
No, thank you.
Mr. Lychwick, anything else from you? All right, we will break for 10 minutes.
Now, this witness really seals the deal for the conviction. She is a forensic scientist who analyzes firearms, ammunition, and bullet impacts to help solve crimes, also known as a ballistics expert.
My name is Jessica Crawford, JESSICA-CRAWFORD.
You may proceed.
Thank you. And good afternoon, Ms. Crawford. Can you please tell the jury how you're employed?
I am a firearms and toolmark examiner with the Wisconsin State Crime Lab, Milwaukee Laboratory. And
Specifically, are you employed within the Division of Forensic Science?
Yes, that's correct.
And that's Forensic Sciences, right? Plural?
Correct.
Okay. And your official title is Firearms and Tool Marks Examiner, is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. And how long have you held your current position, ma'am?
Approximately 10 years.
And do you have any specific education that qualifies you to hold your current position?
I have a Bachelor's of Science from Fort Hays State University.
And have you completed any specialized training or experience that qualifies you to hold your current position, ma'am?
Yes, I have completed the Firearm and Toolmark Examiner training program that is provided by the Wisconsin State Crime Lab.
And as a part of your career, do you participate in any continuing education and or training requirements?
I do.
And does this allow you to remain current on topics in your field?
It does, yes.
Yep. Can you give the jury just a sample? What sort of continuing education or training do you participate in?
So we receive what we call proficiency tests. We receive a few of those each year that test us on the different disciplines in which we work. These are provided to us by a third-party organization and given to us in the form of a black box study. So essentially, we don't know the results. We do the work as casework, and then we return the results to the organization, and they provide us with results after the fact to ensure that we are staying competent on the work that we provide.
And throughout your career, have you ever been asked to present at conferences regarding topics in your field?
Yes.
And can you give the jury a sample? What topics have you presented on?
I present on evidence handling. I have presented on firearm and tool mark examination, and I have presented on Daubert hearings, which is a motion throughout the courts.
And have you testified in court before, ma'am?
I have, yes.
How many times have you testified?
About 120 times.
And Ms. Crawford, are you familiar with a concept that's known as firearms identification?
Yes.
Can you please just tell the jury, what is firearms identification?
With firearms identification, we are looking at firearms and firearm-related evidence like fired cartridge cases and fired bullets or projectiles. And we are comparing the fired bullets and projectiles to the firearm or to each other.
And as part of the 120 times that you've testified in court, have you ever testified regarding firearms identification?
Exclusively.
Okay. So the 120 times you've testified have all been related to firearms identification?
Yes.
Okay. And the specific training and experience and education that you've just defined, is all of that in relation to that particular topic, firearms identification?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And this is your statement of qualifications, is that right?
It is, yes.
Right. And as part of your career, is it an expectation that you maintain this type of document?
Yes.
And that is so you can testify in court regarding what you do on a daily basis?
Correct.
Yep. Your Honor, I now move the exhibit into evidence and ask that it be received.
Mr. Lychwick, any objection to Exhibit 113? The defendant does not respond. The exhibit will be received.
And Your Honor, at this point, I would ask that the court receive Ms. Crawford as an expert witness pursuant to WISC Stat 907.02 subsection 1, specifically in the field of firearms identification.
That is for the jury to determine.
Okay. And when a firearm comes to you for testing, what is the procedure that you follow?
So when I receive a firearm, I will first examine that firearm to ensure that it hasn't been manipulated or damaged. Then we create a worksheet where we indicate all of the different manufacturing, make information on the worksheet. Once I've gone through the entire firearm, ensured that it is safe to fire, we perform 2 test fires of every firearm where I actively go into a shooting range and fire and collect the ammunition fired from the firearm.
And where do you get your hands on the ammunition that you use for test firing, the weapons that you receive?
We have a reference library of ammunition that we use to do all test firing with.
And the procedure that you just explained to the jury, is that followed each and every time, ma'am?
It is.
And after you finish test firing the weapon that is sent to you, do you complete or memorialize your findings in some sort of document?
Yes. Well, we do have notes, and then we also will write a report, and that report will have our findings.
Now, ma'am, as it relates to this particular case, do you know whether your lab received a firearm for testing that you analyzed here?
Do you have a laboratory number you could provide me?
I'll tell you what, maybe I can do even one better, ma'am. Do you know whether you completed a report in reference to a firearm in this case?
Yes, I do believe I did.
Okay. And if I was to show you a copy of that report here today in court, would that assist you in your testimony?
Yes.
Okay. Ma'am, are you able to see what's now been projected on your screen?
I can, yes.
Okay. And this is marked as State's Exhibit number 114, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, ma'am, just scrolling up, is that your name that's located at the top of this report?
That is my name, yes.
Okay. I ask the record that we received the exhibit in for evidence.
Any objection to Exhibit 114, Mr. Lychwick? Hearing no objection, the court will receive Exhibit 114.
And, Your Honor, I would ask that we publish to the jury.
Any objection to the publication, Mr. Lychwick? All right, it will be published.
So, ma'am, I'd like to start with the first section of this report. Do you see that there's an indication that says item AD1?
Yes.
Okay. And item AD1, is this the firearm that you received in your laboratory for testing?
Yes.
Okay. And what type of weapon is this?
This is a Germany Mauser, a model Luger 42 or 1939. 9mm caliber semi-automatic pistol. Okay. And then there's also something on this one that says with six landing grooves, right and twist, rifle barrel. Do you see that? Yes. What does that mean? The 6 lands and grooves and right-hand twist rifle barrel would indicate the characteristics of the interior of the barrel of this firearm. And when you receive a weapon at your particular lab, are there some sort of stickers that are noted on it when it receives? Yes. Okay. Your Honor, I believe that there's the firearm should be close by. If I could just use that with the witness, please.
Sure. The witness can use the gun box right there, which is identified as Exhibit 157.
Okay. Thank you very much. Ms. Crawford, do you have exhibit number 157 in front of you? I do. Okay. And is that, are there stickers on that came from your lab? Yes. Okay.
And Ms. Crawford, the previous witness has testified that the firearm has been rendered safe, too. You may proceed.
Thank you very much. So now, moving down, there's a section that says item AD2. Can you just explain that for the jury? AD2 is a magazine that has 7 unfired 9mm caliber cartridges with it. And is this an item that you would have received in your laboratory for testing? Correct. Okay, so you received, at the time that this Luger firearm was sent to you, also included with the submission was a magazine and then some unfired 9mm cartridges, correct? Correct. Okay. And then continuing to move down, there's an item I and an item J. Do you see that as well? Yes, I do. Can you please explain what is item I and what is item J?
Item I is one fired 9mm caliber full metal jacket bullet with 6 lands and grooves and a right hand twist. Item J is also one fired 9mm caliber full metal jacket bullet with 6 lands and grooves and a right hand twist impression.
Evidence I and J are the bullets they retrieved from the body of Carlos Maldonado.
So these items I and item J, these are also items that were submitted to you for testing as well?
Yes.
And Your Honor, I believe these items have also been previously received. If we could just show those to the witness as well.
And they should be right there for the witness as well. Those are...
Okay. And then with respect to all 3 of those items, are there yellow stickers indicated on each item?
There are, yes.
Okay, can you explain that a little bit more?
So the yellow barcode sticker is something that's applied to each piece of evidence as it's received from law enforcement to the crime lab. It provides a laboratory case number and a laboratory item designation, and the barcode allows us to track and follow the chain of custody throughout the laboratory as the item is worked.
Okay. And again, moving down the report, if I could, please, you had testified earlier that you test fired this particular weapon, this Luger firearm that you received. Is that right?
That is correct.
And when you test fired this particular weapon, did you find there to be any malfunctions regarding it?
I did not.
Okay. So the weapon was capable of recycling a bullet through it. Is that right?
Yes, it did function.
Okay. Ma'am, is there a section of your, well, first and foremost, do you have this document in front of you as well, ma'am?
I do.
Okay. Do you see a section in this report that's called microscopic comparison conclusion?
Yes, I do see. I just see the title at this time.
Okay. Can you explain what that is?
So microscopic comparison is going to be a comparison of the class and individual characteristics of a fired piece of evidence. So say we would take these test-fired cartridge cases and bullets, we would then do a microscopic comparison to fired evidence like cartridge cases or bullets that were received to compare the markings that are left over on those bullets and cartridge cases from the firing process that are imparted from the firearm onto those pieces of evidence. We use what's called a comparison microscope, and we compare them by using 2 stages or 2 microscopes that are connected by one optical bridge. And I look at both objects simultaneously, comparing the microscopic striations and impressions to each other in order to come to a conclusion.
And ma'am, just to kind of flush that out just a little bit more, actually before I do that, Your Honor, we've now switched computers. Can we just now, once again, place this back on the screen for the jury? I just didn't want the jury to see my questions.
Oh, for the jury?
Yeah,
sure.
Yes, please. Yep.
So Exhibit 114 will again be displayed to the jury.
And when you're performing a comparison on what is listed as item I and item J, is that right in there?
That is correct.
Okay. So what you're doing then is you're performing a comparison between what you received, which is item I and item J, with the bullets or the projectiles that you have in your laboratory. Is that right?
Correct. The ones that I fired through the firearm compared.
Okay. And when a firearm is recycled through a particular weapon, in this case, a 1939 Luger, does the cartridge have any specific markings or something that would indicate it came from that particular weapon?
That is my experience.
Yep. Can you explain that a little bit more to the jury?
So during the manufacturing process, when a firearm is being made, it's being made with tools. As those tools are forging those different parts, those tools are changing in themselves. So I like to think of it like a piece of chalk. So say you have a fresh piece of chalk and you take it and you score it on the ground. When you look at that end, you're going to see some striations, you're going to see some impressions from the ground that you just rubbed it against. Now, if you were to take it and do it again, you may still see some of those striations and impressions from that first time, but there may be some subtle or different changes that are happening during each time that you're marking that piece of chalk. So the tools that are used in the manufacturing process are similar in the sense that as they wear through each item that they're making, they also have slight changes. So that's where we have that difference between class characteristics and individual characteristics. A class characteristic will be something that's done, decided in manufacturing. So something like the caliber or that amount of lands and grooves, that would be something that was decided and is a class characteristic. I would expect that many Lugers would have a 6 right-hand twist barrel. Those microscopic striations and impressions that are happening during that manufacturing process, where those tools are then wearing through each piece that it's making, those are going to be those individual characteristics, those microscopic striations and impressions that we're using in order to identify a particular gun back to the pieces of evidence that we receive.
I see. Thank you for that explanation. And so so again, referring you back to the item that's listed as AD1, the weapon that you received, and then the 2 items that you spent regarding item I and item J. Do you have an opinion regarding whether items I and item J came from item AD1 based on your testing?
I do.
Yes. Can you please state that opinion, ma'am?
It is my opinion that items I and J, the 2 fired 9mm caliber bullets, were fired through the barrel of item AD1, which is the Germany Mauser Luger.
Doesn't get much clearer than that.
So, ma'am, just to be clear, I'm holding in my hand States Exhibit 155 and States Exhibit 156. These are items I and J. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. So it is your conclusion to a reasonable degree of professional certainty that these 2 projectiles came from what I'm now holding as States Exhibit number 157. Is that right?
That is correct.
I have nothing further. Thank you.
Mr. Lychwick, any cross-examination for this witness? The defendant does not respond. Ms. Crawford, you may step down.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are at 4:46. We've had another full, productive day. I appreciate your attention and patience throughout the day. We are going to break for this evening. We are now outside the presence of the jury. The court will make the following record regarding the defendant during this period of testimony. I'll also note that the defendant has not been standing for the jury as instructed by the bailiffs, even though I'm not under any impression that the defendant is unable to stand. He is only restrained by the ankle, and he would otherwise be able to stand. At 3:21 this afternoon, during Detective Scholten's testimony, the defendant appeared to be slumped over a little bit in his chair. That was the first time that I was under the impression that Mr. Lychwick could potentially be asleep in his chair. I had one of the bailiffs walk behind him and nudge him on his shoulder, and he had, again, that sort of startled awakening where he looked up at the deputy. Other than that, the defendant has remained stationary. He is huddled under his coat. The coat is pulled up around his shoulders and up to his chin. He has maintained some eye contact with court. I've noted it a couple of times where I've looked over at the defendant and he's been looking at the court, and then as soon as we make eye contact, he quickly shuts his eyes. There are other times, like now, where his eyes are open and he is blankly staring or staring at the court. So again, the court is convinced that the defendant remains awake and attentive during this. He is simply refusing to participate, but he is not obstructive and not obstructing any of the testimony or the court proceedings. So if he wants to sleep or meditate or not participate, that is his choice to make. Is there anything else you want to address at this time, Attorney Thompson?
No, thank you.
Mr. Lychwick, is there anything you want to address at this time? Okay. I'll note, too, that where the record reflects that the court has asked Mr. Lychwick certain questions, either in regards to anything he wants to add or in regards to the exhibits being offered or anything like that, for the most part, I've tried to wait a few seconds for a response and then make a note that the defendant has not responded. Other times I know I've asked the defendant the question and then simply moved on and allowed the exhibit to be entered. So just for the record, in case there's any question later on, I've always allowed Mr. Lychwick several seconds to respond to me, and the times that I've moved on have been because Mr. Lychwick has not offered me any response. I do want to go through just real quick where we're at on the exhibits. Mr. Lychwick, anything you want to say regarding that rundown of exhibits? Mr. Lychwick refuses to respond. Okay, that's where we should be then with exhibits. Mr. Lychwick, I want you to think about how this case is going tonight and decide whether or not you want to be an active participant in your defense tomorrow. I will once again allow you to dress in civilian clothes if you so choose. You can ask questions of the witnesses that the state calls. You can raise objections. You can consult with standby counsel. Those are all options available to you that you have not utilized today. Tomorrow's a new day, Mr. Lychwick, so reflect on how today went and see if you want to participate in your defense tomorrow. We are adjourned until 8:30 tomorrow.
That does it for this video. We will conclude this trial's video series with the testimony of Detective Stern and the verdict next time. Take care, everyone.
Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please do not forget to like and subscribe on your way out, and feel free to leave a comment. Have a blessed day.